So I spend every day helping women drop fat and feel bloody incredible in themselves. Exhibit A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, and P. I've also been through my own pretty significant fitness and fat loss transformation, taking myself from here to here, losing 6 kg in prep for a photo shoot in the space of 12 weeks. So I'd say I'm pretty qualified in this topic. And today I want to talk you through the 6 main lessons that I learned during that process of losing 6 kg to take myself from this to this in 12 weeks in the lead up to a photo shoot. And I'm going to give you a heads up. Lesson number 6 is the secret sauce. So that's the one that you're really going to want to stick around for, but it won't work without implementing the first 5 lessons first. So you are going to have to stick around for the whole video. What a shame. But if you are in the market for fitness and fat loss support, then go and give that little subscribe button some love and let's get stuck in. Lesson number 1. Your desired physique requires more work than you think. Oh, we're getting right into the uncomfortable, juicy stuff straight away, my friends. So when I have a client sign up to work with me, I make sure that we get a really good picture of exactly what they want to achieve in terms of aesthetic changes. One, so they can get really excited about the journey ahead. They can start visualizing what they're going to see in the mirror and then how they're going to feel day to day, what outfits they're going to have the confidence to wear, etc. B, dos, 2, so that we can both be on the same page about how much work is really going to be required for this process. Because ultimately, most people severely underestimate how much weight they actually need to lose in order to achieve their desired physique. At the same time, they severely overestimate the amount of progress they can make in a short space of time. I was the same, which is why this is lesson number 1, because I thought I only needed to lose 3 or 4 kilograms in order to hit my goal physique for the shoot. But 6 kilograms later, and I was much closer to where I wanted to be. Number 2. Now you're going to want to grab your emotional Stanley or drink of choice because this is a bitter pill to swallow. But dieting is actually quite hard. For most of us, anyway, myself included. And something that makes me laugh is how little people will second guess the amount of commitment and dedication it takes to run something like a marathon or a half marathon or even a 10K, if the longest they've ever run before is for the bus. No one's ever afraid to get uncomfortable when a Hyrox conditioning session starts getting really tough. No one's afraid to dig deep when they get really stuck into the pain cave in the middle of a heavy leg press set. But the minute you start getting a few hunger pangs in the middle of an energy deficit, you go limper than a lettuce leaf and you start complaining that it's too hard. Yeah, it is. Like I said, I'm no exception. I find dieting really tough. I hate feeling hungry. I love food. And that combo doesn't go hand in hand when it comes to losing weight. I love a pastry alongside my morning coffee as much as the next person. I love a margarita, both the pizza and the cocktail, on a Friday night more than the next person. Significantly more. I fucking love margaritas. Look, I love them. But you can't make an omelette without cracking a few eggs, and you can't successfully diet without accepting that you're going to be a bit hungry every now and again. Oh, by the way, I hope you're sitting down for this bit, because what I'm about to say may shock you. Come closer. Sometimes eating 1,500 calories or less is required to elicit an energy deficit. My God. I know. I was shocked too when I heard. But before the body positivity crowd start lighting their torches and sharpening their pitchforks, just hear me out. To drop 6 kg in the lead up to that photo shoot, my calorie targets 6 days a week were anywhere from 1,450 to 1,320 calories per day. And for the week leading up to the shoot, it was even down to 1,280. I made sure to have a higher calorie target once a day, once a week, to ensure I could still scran a pastry every now and again, or guzzle a margarita or 2, because life without margaritas for 12 weeks is not a life I want to lead. But look, I didn't disintegrate into dust or celery juice as a result of going underneath 1,500 calories. What do you know?
Yes, but Ellen, I wouldn't consider 12 weeks to be a short period of time.
My good friend, how long would you say you've been dieting for? How much of your adult life has been spent in a diet? Adjust your frame of reference. If you're telling me you'd rather spend years in a kind of diet, kind of very much not, instead of dedicating a much shorter chunk of time in that frame of reference, getting a little bit uncomfortable and having your results come much more efficiently, then that's fine. You do you. But I'm telling you now that short-term discomfort is definitely needed where fat loss is concerned. That you cannot achieve fat loss without getting a little bit uncomfortable at times. Number 3, remove as many barriers to entry / Make life easy for yourself. Following on from point 2, the reason you've probably never made much progress with your fat loss efforts is because you're making your ability to adhere to your targets as hard as Pythagoras' theorem, or I don't know, the plot to Inception. You're trying to make meals really interesting and elaborate and creative so you don't get bored. But in the process of testing out new breakfasts, lunches and dinners every single day, by day 4, you've run out of ideas, you're starving because none of those meals were very satiating, and you've hit decision fatigue on what to eat for dinner, which leads your finger straight to that Deliveroo app. When I lost 6 kg, the one thing that made life so much more simple day to day was my consistent breakfast and lunch rotation. I would eat the same breakfast near enough every day without fail. 0% fat Greek yogurt, frozen fruit, bit of peanut butter, bit of carbs on the side in the form of toast or a crumpet. Most days I would adjust the fruit that I was having, but otherwise that was a staple meal in my day every single day, near enough without fail.
Ellen, that's so boring.
Yeah. Do you know what else is boring? Feeling like you've hit Groundhog Day, having spent the last 3 years dieting, but never feeling like you've made any progress. Yeah. The trick with finding meals less boring is to eat something that hits the trifecta of dieting success. That makes me sound like Stephen Bartlett. You want it to taste good. You want to have something you look forward to eating and keeps you feeling good for hours after. Yeah, okay, a McDonald's breakfast wrap hits 2/3 of that quota, but you cannot tell me that you feel as good after a Mackey's as you do after a veggie-packed omelette. So once you find your staple meal, or maybe a couple of meals that you have in rotation, stick to it. Same as the lower calorie conversation from earlier, it doesn't have to be forever. But if you want efficiency with your fat loss, similar meals will help you make the most progress. I ate the same breakfast and a similar lunch every day, which in turn meant that I had a lot more flexibility when it came to what we were having for dinner each night. I always eat dinner with my boyfriend and we generally change up what we have most nights. So pick your battles. Our evening meal is really important to us. It's the time that we can catch up on each other's day and share our love of food with each other. And I'm happy to compromise elsewhere in the day in order to keep that side of things really strong. Same rules apply for other aspects of dieting. When I lost 6 kg, I started my day with movement every single day, whether that was a gym session, a run, or a walk. It set me up for the day, gave me a boost of energy, and it helped with appetite regulation. For me, exercise elicits an element of appetite suppression, which is the same for a lot of people, meaning I didn't feel hungry until about 10 a.m. I could push my first meal of the day back a little bit and keep my eating window shorter or smaller. Essentially meaning I wouldn't have to have a snack between breakfast and lunch. And I always prioritise my sleep, but especially when dieting. Because if you're sleep deprived, you're automatically making the concept of eating in a deficit harder. Your body's going to be bugging the fuck out of you to try and bridge that energy gap that you lost from that lack of sleep. And I hold my hands up and say this as somebody without children who understands her privileged position where sleep is concerned in comparison to those who have a family. Just going to caveat that here and now, but the point stands. Make life easy for yourself as often as possible if you are wanting linear fat loss. Number 4, your goals are no one else's issue, but it's easier when they're on your side. It can be really easy to blame other people for your lack of progress, especially when you're talking about fat loss.
My boyfriend has an appetite of a horse that's training for the Olympics, so I just end up eating the same portion size as him at meals. While my husband's love language is acts of service, so he offers to buy us takeaways and takes me on meals out every other night. While my partner can eat a whole packet of Oreos in one sitting and then eat dinner half an hour later, and still probably lose weight the next day. So I just get too tempted by the snacks he buys.
Yeah, respectfully, they're all shit excuses and you know it. If you're on a diet, it's not the responsibility of your partner or the people around you to keep you on that diet. That's your responsibility. It's your goal. Kelly Holmes didn't rock up to her training sessions only to turn to her coach and say,
"Can you run alongside me for this whole thing to help me keep my pace?"
If the coach wanted to do that, they'd sign up for the fucking Olympics themselves, wouldn't they? When you're the one setting the goal and as a result setting the standards, you're the one who's got to uphold those standards. That being said, it is a whole lot easier when the people in your inner circle are rooting for you and are on your team. So once again, it is your job to communicate exactly what you need from them to help you stay focused.
I know you love to treat me by buying me takeaways and taking me on meals out, but buy me flowers, buy me clothes, buy me fucking skincare, because God knows that shit gets pricier by the day. When you prep dinner, weigh out my pasta separately and cook them separately, so I don't end up with a mountain of spaghetti that I then have to gaslight myself into believing is actually 400 calories, which is the target I gave myself for dinner tonight. If you must scram an entire pack of Oreos 20 minutes before we sit down to eat dinner, do it on the train home, so I don't have to watch.
See? How simple was that? Do and say whatever you need to get them on your side. Number 5, constant comfort teaches you nada. Not a thing. Nothing. Zilch. Zero. When was the last time you felt really comfortable in your job and then thought,
hey, I'm learning so much right now?
never. Sometimes your comfort zone is the best place to be. You feel safe, you feel assured, you know what to expect. But when you start imagining a life different to the one that you lead right now, in a body different to what you're in right now, and a mindset different to what you have right now, there is no way out of your current life and into that version without taking a leap of leaving your comfort zone. When some ambitious thoughts start creeping into your peripheral, there'll be a part of your brain trying to push these thoughts right back out of there. That pushy part of your brain is your comfort zone. It's the amygdala, the little kidney bean chunk of brain that sits right up in the front seat and acts as the brain's threat detector. The minute you start dipping your toes outside the pool of comfort, your amygdala starts pinging off warning signs, claiming that that is unknown territory you're about to enter into and it is not safe. When you start feeling that tug, that's exactly when you have to follow through with that step out of comfort county and into discomfort district. Yeah, we'll go with that. When the diets start feeling tough, you have to push forward. When the run starts feeling uncomfortable, you have to push forward. When the self-sabotage thoughts start creeping in after you've made a load of progress and you start thinking, I don't know how I'm going to keep this going, you have to push the fuck forwards. I knew I wanted to get into the best shape of my life when I started that diet. I didn't know what the best shape of my life looked like. I'd never achieved it before. I was aiming for a physique that I'd previously never unlocked before. I threw myself into the discomfort that came with that process and I got the payoff. If you want to learn more about yourself, the most effective way to do so is by setting challenges that right now you don't believe are within your reach. Number 6. We made it, people. I told you that point number 6 was the secret sauce to complete this fat loss burger. Probably not the best analogy to use right now. But hopefully you can see why I told you to listen to the first 5 points rather than skipping to the end. And if that is what you've done, I see you. Go back, listen to the rest of the video first. Nobody likes a cheat. Because after having listened to the first 5 lessons, hopefully you've gained a little bit more clarity on exactly why you're setting these fat loss goals in the first place. Because number 6, your why is your anchor. If you've got a wank why, you will get butt fuck nowhere. My why for that photo shoot was to lead from the front. It is really easy to stay motivated towards a confidence-based goal when you literally spend all day, every day helping women feel incredible in their bodies. It was completely impossible for me to forget what I was working towards. Because in this photo, I felt fine. I could wear a bikini without having a meltdown. I could wear tight-fitting outfits without feeling like I was just staring at a bag of custard in the mirror. But who gives a fuck about fine? I don't want to feel fine. I want to feel absolutely fucking unbelievable. I want to feel amazing. If I have the capacity to feel incredible, why wouldn't I want that for myself? For reference, a month before that photo was taken, I'd just dropped a chunky amount of cash on getting the girls done. So I wanted the confidence I had in my chest to match everywhere else. My other why, honestly, was why the fuck not? It's the attitude I take when I set most of my big goals. Why do a photo shoot? Why the fuck not? Why do a half marathon? Why the fuck not? Why do a high rocks? Why the fuck not? If you can, if you have the ability to do so, why wouldn't you grab all of these opportunities by the balls and fucking run with them? Literally. Whilst I can, I want to see what my body's capable of. I want to challenge myself in as many different ways as possible. So my second big why was why the fuck not? Let's recap. 1, your desired physique requires more work than you think. 2, dieting is hard. 3, remove as many barriers to entry as possible, / make life easy for yourself. 4, your goals are no one else's issues, but it's easier when they're on your side. 5, constant comfort teaches you nothing. 6, your why is your anchor. Implement those 6 lessons and you're gonna have a bloody good 2026. And if you've listened to that whole video and thought, hey, she really knows what she's on about, huh? A, you're right. And B, if you want to put my knowledge to the test, your best bet is to download the 4-week free coaching template that we have via the link in my bio or the description box. Whatever you kids call it nowadays. Because if you use that, you're giving yourself approximately a 79% better chance of fat loss than by just continuing to flail around like a fucking cat in a bathtub trying to figure it out on your own. In the meantime, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.